Super typhoon causes huge waves, 600,000 people affected in Fujian. Disgusting, seafood restaurant recycles leftovers for resale. Taiwan wins a choir award, and Chinese nationalists in New Zealand have a meltdown. A student with a top exam score chooses trade school. Typhoon Duku is directly hitting Fujian, China, causing huge waves along the coast of Putian City. There are heavy rains and strong winds on land, and a truck was suspected to have been blown over. Over 100,000 people have been evacuated. Duku landed in Taiwan in the early hours of July 25th. A few hours later, its strength weakened, and the eye of the typhoon disappeared, moving out to sea near Taoyuan's Xinwu district. Some people believe that Taiwan's central mountain range, often called the Guardian Mountains, effectively blocked the typhoon's path and protected Taiwan once again. After leaving Taiwan, Duku made landfall along the ocean of Fujian on the evening of July 25th. This caused huge waves and strong winds in Putian City, with the maximum wind force reaching over level 12. In Lianjiang County, pedestrians struggled to walk, and some were blown over. On the Qingzhou Bridge in Mawei District, Fuzhou City, a truck was suspected to have been blown over by strong winds, and the highway only allowed vehicles to exit, not enter. Reporters on the scene had to secure themselves with safety ropes to avoid being blown over. The strong winds were accompanied by heavy rain. As of 7 a.m. on July 25th, 20 counties in Fujian experienced heavy rainfall, with the highest rainfall exceeding 170 millimeters. Over 150,000 people were evacuated, and more than 90 flights were canceled. Residents in Fujian reported severe flooding, with water reaching knee-height in some areas. One resident, Ms. Li, mentioned that it was raining heavily, nearly flooding her house. She had prepared by buying a lot of instant noodles and ready-to-eat food the night before. Currently, Zhejiang and Fujian provinces have activated Level 3 and Level 2 emergency responses, respectively. The Taihu Basin Authority of the Ministry of Water Resources has also activated a Level 3 emergency response. Additionally, temporary measures such as suspending work, business, production, classes, and closing tourist spots and train services have been implemented in places like Fujian and Guangzhou. According to the Fujian provincial government's flood control and drought relief headquarters, as of 6 a.m. on the 26th, 2.3 million people in 7 cities in Fujian have been affected. In Longhua District, Shenzhen, close to Fujian, there were also strong winds and heavy rains, with water on the roads reaching half a meter deep. Many large trees were uprooted, several cars were damaged, and streets were in disarray. A Shenzhen resident shared a video showing intense lightning and heavy rain at around 3 a.m., causing water to accumulate 30 to 40 centimeters in low-lying areas of Longhua District within just 20 minutes. Roads turned into rivers with waves, and cars and motorcycles struggled to move through the water. Parked cars were hit by broken branches, and some shops were flooded. Several cars stalled in deep water, with owners standing on car roofs awaiting rescue as the water reached the rescuers' knees. Another resident described starting deliveries in the area at 1 a.m., witnessing heavy rains and lightning from Dongguan's Tangsha and Chang'an areas at around 3 a.m. Within half an hour, the rain was like a high-pressure jet, and he had to stop his car due to the intense rain and water gushing from manholes. The Central Meteorological Observatory in China has warned that the typhoon, carrying a large amount of moisture, will continue moving north, potentially affecting more than 10 provinces and cities, including Hunan, Hubei, Jiangxi, Henan, Shandong, Hebei, and Liaoning. This could bring heavy rains and the risk of flooding once again. This natural disaster brought some unexpected events. After Typhoon Duku made landfall and weakened, the beach was left covered with oysters. Videos circulating online showed many people collecting oysters at the beach, filling buckets. Ms. Shi, who filmed the scene, said, "The stronger the winds and waves, the more fish and seafood we get, and the more expensive they become." However, many netizens warned against this behavior, highlighting the dangers of staying at the beach after a typhoon, as rising tides and increased waves could sweep people away. Others lamented that some people prioritized taking advantage of the situation over their safety. On July 24th, a university student working a summer job in Shandong exposed that a seafood restaurant was recycling leftover food and reselling it after processing. The student revealed that he worked at the seafood restaurant during July and August 2023. The restaurant would often collect the seafood left over by customers and resell it the next day. The student said, "After customers finished their meals, the boss would ask me to peel and clean the leftover seafood and then store it in the fridge. The next day, if a customer ordered seafood soup, these leftovers would be used." Moreover, the restaurant also switched out the food that customers ordered. The student shared an instance where a customer ordered a large lobster. Since the lobster's head had identifiable calcium stones, the kitchen staff would select a similarly sized frozen dead lobster from the freezer and transfer the distinctive feature from the live lobster's head to the dead one. This way, they could deceive the customer into thinking they were eating the lobster they had chosen. This practice also extended to other fish, where dead frozen fish could replace live ones, and the live fish would be placed back in the tanks at the entrance of the restaurant. Despite the restaurant frequently being listed as a must-visit seafood spot in Donggang District, Ruzhou, the student revealed that the kitchen's hygiene conditions were very poor. It was only cleaned thoroughly before routine inspections, and the restaurant often received advance notice of these inspections, leading him to suspect that the owner had inside connections. Additionally, the owner's wife often insulted employees over minor issues, greeted customers with a smile, but spoke ill of them behind their backs, often complaining that group-buying customers were cheap and stingy. It is reported that the seafood restaurant has since been renovated and renamed, but continues to operate. However, the student's account has been deleted. At the same time, on July 21st, another incident of a restaurant deceiving customers was reported. Mr. Ma, who ran a hot pot restaurant in Mianzhu City, Sichuan, was found to have recycled leftover hot pot oil from customers between July and November 2023. He processed this leftover oil and added it to the hot pot base to save costs and enhance flavor. The online reaction was very strong. Some netizens said they were not surprised by such practices, recalling how their university canteen used leftover food for breakfast fillings. Others commented, "Food safety issues in China reflect a lack of conscience. People will do anything for profit, stuck in a society of mutual harm. The root problem is the deep-seated bad traits of the people. If the Communist Party were to strictly control food safety, there would be no food industry left in China. From major oil scandals to small vendors using black gutter oil, there wouldn't be enough prisons to hold all the offenders." China has been trying to marginalize Taiwan and suppress its international status in various global forums. Recently, at a World Youth Choir competition held in New Zealand, the Chinese team had an emotional outburst inside the venue because they couldn't accept the Taiwanese team going on stage independently from China. After the initial outburst, the people in the video started shouting, "No Taiwan independence," and ended up crying hysterically. The video sparked many comments from netizens. One Chinese netizen said that after watching the video, they felt like stuffing socks into those people's mouths, saying, "If you love your country so much, why don't you go back to China?" Another netizen lamented that people educated under the Chinese Communist Party are truly hysterical and urged Chinese people to calm down. Others expressed sympathy for these little pinks, a term for young Chinese nationalists, saying that they have been brainwashed to such an extent that it's hard to believe the video wasn't dubbed afterward. Some even linked it to the Chinese government's promotion of the selected works of Xi Jinping, saying that brainwashing had deeply affected these individuals. However, some were puzzled by why these nationalists behave the same abroad as they do in China. Analysts explain that many people study abroad solely to obtain a foreign diploma without genuine interest in advanced scientific and cultural knowledge or social systems of other countries. Their attitude toward studying abroad is passive, and they remain isolated within Chinese circles, consuming most of their social information in Chinese. This leads to narrower thinking, increasingly aligned with the Chinese Communist Party's propaganda. Additionally, Chinese education often instills a sense of racial superiority, teaching that those not of our race are sure to have different minds. This kind of stunted education leads to a lack of independent thinking. Some netizens have called on the New Zealand government to prevent these nationalists from returning to China, warning that they could cause significant problems for New Zealand in the future. There are also extreme cases of Chinese people's obsession with the notion that Taiwan belongs to China. On February 6, a Chinese netizen on Weibo shared his tragic story of being diagnosed with late-stage melanoma at the age of 38. He is unable to work and worried about his 70-year-old mother and 9-year-old daughter. He expressed a hope to recover and provide for them. However, the next statement angered many. If I don't have much time left, I wish to see Taiwan return to China before I die. This statement not only infuriated Taiwanese netizens, but also drew backlash from his compatriots who retorted, "Even if Taiwan returns, will you get free healthcare?" And others bluntly said, "I sympathize with your illness but despise your mindset."